𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗘 has over 500,000 followers across platforms, and every single one of his reels looks like it was made by a production studio with a 5-figure budget. Just a handful of techniques he repeats over and over, and once you see them, you can't unsee them. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to break down exactly what he's doing, then show you how to build the key pieces of it in CapCut Desktop. I'm Dino, and I'm here to help you master CapCut the easy way. Let's jump in. Here are 3 sound effects you need to be using right now. First up, whooshes, great for creating smooth transitions and movement. Next, risers, used to build tension and anticipation. Finally, impacts, perfect for adding emphasis. So before we touch CapCut, I want to spend a couple of minutes actually looking at what 𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗘 is doing, because most tutorials skip this part and go straight to the how. But if you understand the why, you can apply it to anything. Every single reel looks like it belongs to the same visual world. Different backgrounds, different topics, but you always know it's him before you see the face. That's not accident. His style is built on 3 things. The first one is the text, and this is the thing that hits you in the first frame before he says a single word. There are 3 things going on in his text that most people just see as looks nice without realizing it's actually 3 separate techniques stacked together. A glow sitting behind the letters, an edge and gradient combination that gives the text a glass-like depth, and a light sweep, a thin streak of light that moves across the words. Stack all 3 and you get that polished, almost glass-like look. Take any one away and it still works, it's just slightly flatter. He uses a font called Tactic Sense for all of this. I'm going to show you exactly how to build each of those effects in CapCut, but with our own font, and I'll explain why when we get there. The second thing, and honestly this is his biggest signature, is what he does with UI. Most tutorial creators just screen record an app and point at it. Devin builds the interface as prop. He animates it, floats it in the frame, glows it, highlights specific elements with a box. It looks like a product demo, not a phone recording. The thing worth noticing here is that he always uses the interface of whatever platform he is talking about. So if he's teaching an Instagram setting, he animates Instagram's UI. That's the trick. He's not designing something abstract, he's taking something the viewer already recognizes and making it feel premium. Which means for us, since we're talking about CapCut, the obvious move is to do the same thing with CapCut's own interface. Same principle applied to our world instead of his. I'm going to show you exactly how to build that using CapCut's own panels as the source material. Third one, sound. This is the one people skip and then wonder why their edits feel flat. Devin's sound design has a very specific character. It's high energy, it's precise, and every visual hit has an audio hit behind it. There's a whole toolkit he pulls from depending on the moment. Whooshes for movement and transitions, risers building tension before a reveal, impacts for emphasis when something lands, clicks for UI interactions since he's often tapping on the screen mockups, pops for things appearing on screen, and occasionally a low sub-bass hit on his biggest reveals, the kind of sound you feel more than you hear. He's not using 1 or 2 sounds on loop, he's matching the sound to the specific job that moment needs. We're going to come back to sound at the end because 3 of these effects, whoosh, riser and impacts, are also the focus of the reel we're building together. But keep that full list in mind, every visual moment needs an audio moment, and the right one depends on what's happening on screen. Quick one before we carry on. If you want free assets to use in your edits right now, there's a free creator starter pack at dinaandagnes.com. You get horizontal mats, social media mats, outline frames, an Apple log to Rec 709 lot, and 15 CapCut effect tutorials. Each one is under a minute and designed to create the kind of scroll-stopping visual hooks that make people stop and watch. All free. Links in the description. Before any of the text or animation work, every reel starts with a talking head footage. This is where you actually begin editing, so let's start here. Open CapCut with raw talking head footage on the timeline. Start with the basic cut, just removing the dead air and silences between what you say. So rather than splitting and deleting manually every time, use S to split at the playhead, and Q to delete everything to the left of it. Run through your whole clip that way, cutting out every gap and pause until what's left is just the words. That gets you a clean cut, but a string of basic cuts back to back can feel a bit mechanical, a bit stop-start. This is where J-cuts and L-cuts come in. And they're the thing that makes a cut feel invisible rather than obvious. So once you've got your basic cuts in place, select your clips and extract the audio so the audio and the video are sitting on separate layers. Just like that, just right-click and click this one. Perfect. For a J-cut, you want the audio from the next clip to start playing slightly before its video appears. So drag that audio layer back and trim it to begin just ahead of the cut point. Just like that. Perfect. Pull the end of the previous clip up to meet it. Now, when you play it through, you hear the next line start a bit before you actually see the cut, and it smooths the transition right over. An L cut is the same idea, just in reverse, so the audio from the clip you're leaving carries on slightly after the video has already cut to the next shot. The thing to watch for is overlap. Just a few frames is usually enough to take the hard edge of a cut without anyone noticing it happened. Do this through the whole talking head section and the pacing starts to feel a lot more natural, which is exactly the foundation everything else in the reel gets built on top of. Right, let's build. Starting with the text because everything else sits on top of it. Now, Devin uses tactic sense. We're using 𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗘 because it's our brand font, and the whole point of this video is not to clone him, it's to use his techniques with your own identity. Same principle, different execution. You use whatever font represents you. Let's build the glow first, since it's the simplest. Add a default text layer, select your text layer and create a compound clip. Then go to Effects, search for glow and drag it onto the compound clip. That's it. Couldn't be any simpler. Next is the edge and the gradient together, the bit that gives the text its depth. Go to text, drag a default text layer onto the timeline and type your line. Switch the font to your brand font and size it up so it's bold and dominant in the frame. Set it to your brand color as well. In my case, it's going to be the green. Duplicate your text layer and set the color to white and place it underneath the green text. On that duplicate, nudge its position slightly using the X and Y values, just a couple of pixels off from the original. That offset is your edge. Now duplicate that white layer one more time and reset its X and Y to 0, put it directly on top, turn it into a compound clip and add a film strip mask. Rotate the mask so the visible strip sits roughly through the center of the text and pull the feather slightly right up so it blends rather than cuts off sharply. That's your glass highlight sitting inside the letters, the edge underneath it, and the gradient brace together giving the whole thing depth. And the next part is the one people find oddly satisfying, is the light sweep. It's genuinely just one more duplicate and a couple of keyframes. So duplicate that mask layer again and stack it on top. Go to the start of the clip and drop a keyframe on the mask position with the strip sitting off to one side of the text out of view. Just like that. Perfect. Move forward roughly 20 frames, drop a second keyframe and drag the mask all the way across to the opposite side. Right-click that second keyframe and apply an ease preset to smooth the motion out. Let's play it back. And you've got a clean light sweep traveling across the words. Stack everything together, group it into one final compound clip with the glow on top, and that's your complete Devin style text system: glow, edge, gradient and the sweep, all in one reusable clip. That already looks completely different from a standard CapCut text. Save that compound clip as a template and you can reuse it across every reel you make. That's how Devin achieves that visual consistency. He's not rebuilding from scratch every time, he has a system. Now the UI mockup. Since we're talking about sound effects in our reel, the obvious interface is Animate CapCut's own audio panel. Same principle Devin uses, just pointed at our own world instead of Instagram's. There are 3 separate animations we're going to build in this section, so keep an eye out for the numbers. Animation 1 is the transparent background layer. Animation 2 is the 3 sound effect icon cards with the shine effect. And animation 3 is the sound effects search panel itself glowing and sliding into frame. Let's go through them one by one. Okay, so animation 1, start by screen recording yourself scrolling through the sound effects panel in CapCut. That recording becomes raw material, not the final shot. Now duplicate your talking head clip and place that screen recording on the layer between the two. Remove the background from the top talking head layer so you can see through to what's underneath. Select the screen recording layer, go to blend, choose overlay, and bring the opacity down to around, say, 35%. That gives you a subtle semi-transparent backdrop of the interface behind you rather than a hard cut to a screen recording. To bring it in smoothly, add 2 position keyframes about 10 frames apart and build a slide up animation. Then smooth it out with the 𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗘 preset. Perfect. Now animation 2, this is the actual mockup card, the part that's going to hold our 3 sound effects. Take a screenshot of just the audio icon from CapCut's left hand panel and add a background behind it so it reads as a card. Duplicate that card 3 times since we've got 3 effects to show. And 3 text layers too, type 1, 2, 3 and set them to your brand font. For the shine, add a glow effect on the audio icon and set 3 keyframes on its size, roughly say 20 frames apart should be fine. Start at 0, push it up to around 65 at the middle keyframe and then back to 0. That gives you a quick shine pulse. Trim the glow layer right after that 3rd keyframe. Perfect. Then copy it across to do the same thing on the 2nd and 3rd icons, timed slightly after one another so they shine in sequence rather than all at once. Then apply the identical glow pulse to the number text layers too. Time to land exactly with their matching icon. Compound each icon and its glow separately and each number and its glow separately, so you end up with 6 compound clips in total. That separation matters because it's what lets the shine apply only to the layer it's meant to hit rather than bleeding across all of them. Once all 6 are built and timed, group all of them into one final compound clip and add a zoom in animation set to loop on the right side. Then animation 3, this one's the actual sound effects search panel. The bit where you see the names whoosh, riser and impact appears as if someone's typing them into CapCut search. Screen record the audio panel sound effects search, typing out each of the 3 effects one at a time and picking whichever result pops up for it. Take that recording, scale it up and center it in the frame using the guidelines to make sure all 3 end up perfectly aligned once they stacked. Just like that. Perfect. Add a mask so only the top part of the recording is visible, just the search bar and the results sitting under it. Behind that mask layer, add a white background sized and positioned exactly to match the mask, then hide it completely so it's visible. It's only then to give the glow something solid to sit behind. Compound the white layer on its own and add a glow effect to that compound clip. Because it's masked to the same size as the recording above it, the glow reads as sitting behind the box rather than across the whole screen. Perfect. Now the outline. Add a rectangle shape, turn off the fill so it's hollow and add a stroke, set it to white and bring the size down to 1. Position it directly around the masked box so it reads as a clean outline. Last step is bringing it on screen. Compound the 3 layers, the mask recording, the glow and the outline together. Add a keyframe right at the start of the compound clip, move forward about 20 frames and then add a 2nd keyframe and then go back to the first one and slide the whole thing out of frame. Perfect. Apply the 𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗘 preset so the motion eases rather than snaps. That's your sliding. Now repeat the entire thing for the other 2 sound effects, whoosh, riser and impact. Each one surged, masked, glowed, outlined and slid in the same way. Perfect. Let's watch it back. Here are 3 sound effects you need to be using right now. First up, whooshes. Great for creating smooth transitions and movement. Next, risers, used to build tension and anticipation. Finally, impacts. Perfect for adding emphasis. 3 animations, 3 different techniques, and notice none of them needed anything outside CapCut. No external design tools. Screenshots, glow, mask, compound clips, keyframes. That's the whole toolkit, and it works for any interface or text moment you want to showcase, not just these 3. If you want ready-made sound effects to use straight in your edits, our sound effect pack has 64 different effects with over 100 variations, clicks, impacts, whooshes, movement sounds, all designed for viral style editing and easy to layer directly in CapCut. Links in the description. Make sure you're subscribed and have notification turned on so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely want to watch this one where I'll show you how to recreate the documentary editing style used by Magnate Media entirely in CapCut. Now go create something awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.